Welcome into your PFF prospect profile. Today it's all about South Dakota State tight end Dallas Goedert, a guy that jumped onto our radar a couple of years ago because every time he played against FBS competition, he was unbelievable. He made some big plays, TCU, other games. He just looked really good. And here at PFF, we grade every FBS snap. We don't go grade every FCS snap. But because Goedert was so good and we thought he looked like a #1 type tight end, we went back and graded every single one of his games, and it was well worth it. #1 tight end on our board.
He's a really fun player to watch. He just dominated the competition there at South Dakota State. After the catch, arguably the best tight end in this class, and they utilized him almost as a receiver there with how often they'd get him the ball underneath and let him just go to work because he was a man amongst boys. He was just, sunning dudes left and right there at South Dakota State. And the worrisome thing is the competition aspect is worrisome because is that going to translate? Is that sort of physical dominance that he showed there, is it going to translate right away to the NFL? I wish he would have tested more. I wish I would have seen, see his athletic test. He didn't test the combine, didn't test at a pro day, but I still think the athleticism is there to where I like him as a top tight end on our board.
You've told me before that we should just rely on the tape to just look at athleticism.
But I'm lazy.
We're lazy. So with FCS competition, though, he still looked athletic. We're not talking about a guy who didn't produce, and you at least see the dominance, as you said, 8.2 yards after the catch per reception. He forced 12 missed tackles after the catch. That tied for first in the nation. So I don't think it's as much of a projection as other guys. A lot of times with projections, it's here's this great athlete. He didn't really do well on the football field, but we're hoping down the road he can. At least Goedert has made good football plays. You said they used him as a wide receiver. That's right. They used him in the screen game. They used him on shovel passes. I love his body control, too. So it's not just after the catch stuff. It's red zone, spectacular catches, one-handed catches, and using his body. So he has good size, wide receiver type movement skills, we think, even though he didn't have the underwear Olympics results. So, look, I just think he's the exact thing that the NFL needs as this mismatch type of weapon.
Yeah, you mentioned his ball skills and his body control. Only 3 drops a season to go on 80 catchable targets. That's solid hands. That's what you want out of a tight end. You don't want your tight end dropping a lot of passes because those are third downs. Those are the short conversions that you need a guy to make. So from that perspective, I like him. And also, I just can't get over the fact that he runs exactly like Jason Witten. I flip on the tape, and it's just the comp, creates
early
itself.
Jason Witten?
Early Jason Witten, the way he shuffles down the field, the way he his feet never are that high off the ground, so he can cut on a dime the way Jason Witten does. So I'm not going to call him Jason Witten just yet, but it's the comp, looks so good on tape.
If you're getting Jason Witten in that career, I would take that. That'd be pretty solid. Let's discuss the run game a little bit just because we have to. That's the secondary role, I'd say, for tight ends in today's NFL. If he becomes this mismatch weapon that plays in the slot, plays out wide, moves around, H-back, whatever, he's well worth it. But he only had 206 run blocking snaps from a traditional tight end position. I'm reading that straight out of the PFF draft guide. It's all part of Edge or Elite at ProFootballFocus.com. He graded well in the run game, but that's where the competition stuff comes in. You could see the spectacular catches, but when you're giving positive run grades against lesser competition, it's harder to sort that out. I feel like all of the tight ends in the class, what I've been saying is they at least get in the way. They at least try. That still kind of feels like the best description for Goedert as well.
And he has the tools to where he could be a plus run blocker in the future. He could be a solid run blocker. It's just, it might take him a while. Because coming from that sort of competition leap, he's just never going to face anyone like a Von Miller. He's not going to face anyone even close to that. So at that point, you probably don't want him in line year 1, but maybe year 2, year 3, he could develop into one.
I called him a serviceable run blocker here because he at least latches on. He at least, decent hand position. You need that to at least have that positive run blocking grade. I mean, if you look at the breakdown for Goedert, everything was really good. He was good at pretty much everything. Deep passing yards among tight ends, 319 yards per route run. Again, the competition thing comes in, but when you're at 3.17, that is elite. And then the 96.8 overall grade for Goedert. So he's good across the board. You want to see that level of dominance against FCS, and he at least came through, and he made it worthwhile going through and grading all of his games. That's South Dakota State tight end Dallas Goedert, the #1 tight end on the PFF draft board.